Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that this Honorable House adopts a report of the Joint Committee on Energy and Mines, Natural Resources, and the Songor Salt Mining Undertaking by Electrochem Ghana Limited. And so doing, Mr. Speaker, I present your committee's report. With your indulgence, I invite the answered department to capture the entire report as if it's been fully read as I dilate on the salient points. Honorable Speaker, the background to this matter relates to three mining contracts ratified by the House on the 6th day of November 2020. And the issues that have come up are some misunderstanding as to how this salt mining undertaking is being conducted. One significant factor is that at all material times, Electrochem Ghana Limited has invested 88 million United States dollars as the first phase of this world-class salt mining undertaking. Mr. Speaker, the critical matter which is brought about this understanding is what is salt. Is it a national asset or is a means of the livelihood of the great people of Adam? That is all the problem. And if you pay regard to paragraph 7.0 of the report, it is at the heart of all the troubles. And with your permission, I'd like to read what the law says. Salt is Article 2576 of the Constitution provides as follows. Every mineral in this natural state, in, under, or upon any land in Ghana, rivers, streams, water courses throughout Ghana, the exclusive economic zone, and any area covered by the territorial sea or continental shelf is the property of the Republic of Ghana and shall be vested in the President on behalf and in trust of the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, if you pay regard to Section 1 of the Minerals and Mining Act 2006, Act 703, as amended by Act 995, it provides as follows. Every mineral in this natural state is a reproduction of that. But what is significant is the interpretation section of Act 701, where industrial mineral is defined. Industrial mineral means basalt, clay, granite, gravel, gypsum, laterite, limestone, marble rock, sandstone, slate tar, salt, emphasis applied, and other minerals as the Minister may from time to time declare by a notice published in the Gazette. Honorable Speaker, if this is the state of affairs, and this is what the law says, then salt, I beg to say, is in the same category as gold vested in the President for and on behalf of the good people of Ghana. The same thing may be said of bauxite and the rest of them. And therefore, when we urge upon the indigenes that the salt is not owned by, is not intended for the entire people of Ghana, it creates a monumental confusion, and people say, oh, this is our means of livelihood. And this is a problem that we are trying to clarify because of what the Constitution says. The same can be said that the bauxite in my backyard, Chebi and Atiwa Ring, does not belong to the Chebi people. With the greatest of respect, it belongs to the whole of the people of Ghana, and it is vested in the president for the benefit of the entire country. When we are able to explain this state of affairs, there will be peace. And then we will have constitutional harmony in the realm. I wouldn't want to detain you too long, but let me go on the recommendations of your joint committee. Right, Honourable Speaker, the committee did not see any need at all to review and or tinker with the 3 mining leases ratified by this August House on the 6th day of November 2020. There was nothing at all to show. There was no illegality that the Parliament previously committed in the ratification. It is imperative that the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE, should embark upon a massive educational campaign in the salt mining area to bring the indigenous to the realization that salt is a natural mineral and not a means ratified by this August House on the 6th day of November 2020. There was nothing at all to show. There was no illegality that the Parliament previously committed in the ratification. It is imperative that the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE, should embark upon a massive educational campaign in the salt mining area to bring the indigenous to the realization that salt is a natural mineral and not a means of livelihood in the same category of gold in the Ashanti region, petroleum in the western region, and bauxite in the salt mining area to bring the indigenous to the realization that salt is a natural mineral and not a means of livelihood in the same category of gold in the Ashanti region, petroleum in the western region, and bauxite in the eastern region. National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE, should embark upon a massive educational campaign in the salt mining area to bring the indigenous to the realization that salt is a natural mineral and not a means of livelihood in the same category of gold in the Ashanti region, petroleum in the western region, and bauxite in the eastern region. Now, Mr. Speaker, this recommendation is very important. Political players in that space should desist from making political capital out of the use of national assets for the development of the nation Ghana, rather than inciting individuals to believe they are being robbed by the government of the day. Very important. There should be a serious security arrangement in the communities for them to come to terms with the fact that it is in the best interest of Ghana and the local communities to desist from any form of lawlessness to pave the way for a national undertaking with export benefits to function at full throttle. Parliament and NCCE should be the arrowheads in this regard. Honourable Speaker, if we care to know, if we give space to salt production, the data is showing that it could rival or even overtake our returns on gold and then cocoa. This is very important. This is where we are going to affect the Gogisbeck economy. Another, mineral is going to bring us a lot of money. And I will share the data with you because we couldn't attach it to this report. We are also informed that somebody lost his life. Numo Quality Agomeda. We are urging on this House that the police, should go into this matter and bring the perpetrators to book. Honorable Speaker, there was an error with the recommendation number XV, and I want to read it and correct the error. Electrochem Ghana Limited, in the rollout of this immensely significant national project, should not desecrate the Northwest Missing cemeteries, fetish houses, and places within the concession area. Honorable Speaker, respectfully submitted.
Yes, any seconder to the report that has been moved? Yes. Who is ranking? Oh no, it's a special committee. Yes. Yes. So please.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to give my impression about what the I'm not in favor, so I can't second.
Right, yes, any seconder?
Yes, right, Honorable Speaker, I second the motion.
Honorable members, motion moved and seconded for the adoption of the report for the consideration of the House. Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to express my concerns about the chairman's report on this particular issue, which I really don't accept the report to be taken, with your permission, with the following reasons as I have them here. One of the major points of the reference point for the committee is the site, and acquaint themselves with the area and interact with the people to be sure that they really understand what the whole situation is about. But that has not been done. According to the recommendation, they would like to do that later on. But if you have presented your report already before going to check on all that, and your finding is said that maybe it's otherwise, what will you do? So this is one of the reasons. Two, as a member of parliament for the area, my input, I was asked to make an input with concerning the situation there. I presented a paper for which I expected that it would be part of those that they use for whatever has been done. But unfortunately, when I checked all those whose paper they received, my paper was not taken. Well, I was not mentioned. That means they did not look at it at all. They did not see it. And it's unfortunate because I made strong points for my people, for which I expected that my paper should be acknowledged as one of those that they received, for which they use for whatever discussions they did. But unfortunately, my paper was not acknowledged, and I found that very outrageous or strange. Three, I want to add more, that's right. Three said, Mr. Speaker, I also find it difficult to understand why over 3 good years, Electrochem is not unable to compensate business and men who got shot before he took over. He agreed that he would compensate them so that they could continue their business, but till now they managed to do some for some, but not all. And you could imagine people who use all their money to buy stock at a point, and then now 3 years you have not paid them the money. to continue with their business, what will be their situation? So this is also one of the facts that when I read the report, it was missing. Rather, they were talking about compensation for those that were hurt and those that police meted brutalities to. So I felt this is also a point that they could have gone or presented this report without it. And also, the major concern of the people is not about the Electrochem company not taking part or having to do his work there. But it has to do, the question is 41,000 acres of land to one company. The people are wondering, how is it going to work on all this land? Why can't we sublet it, let different companies come in so that we can have competition? There is going to be a monopoly, and with that, we cannot really achieve the best, the maximum. And so far, as a member of parliament and with the brutalities concerning the police and even the Electrochem company, when I go around, you can see that they are only concentrating on the already existed project area, which is called Songor Salt. So the people are not against the Electrochem's presence there. Myself, I'm for the Electrochem. But the manner in which things are going is fact a bit of concern. And if we could address those issues, we can have Electrochem working there peacefully, for which the government will benefit, my people will also benefit, and myself, I will also benefit. So, Mr. Speaker, I would really like us to don't rush into conclusion. We can take this. I would appeal to your state if you could accept we only did 2 engagements with the people without even going there. So if you could give the committee some time to go back to the drawing board so that we take our time to bring a report which will really bring a permanent solution there. As it is, as a member of parliament for the good people of Adam, when we go on with this, we will still not have our peace. But I want the company to exist and work there. But let's go about things the manner in which the people also accept. There hasn't been enough stakeholder consultations, and that has led to all this. And the joint committee, I'm sorry, couldn't also, go back to the place and engage people who could have been contacted before coming out of the report. I'm not against the report entirely, but I wish it could have been done in a different way, a bit of what we have now. So with all respect to your seat, if this report could be, or committee could extend it with time to do more work so that we will really look at it. We will look at it comprehensively and come out with a solution which will fit or will help the people of Adam, for that matter, Asege. So, Mr. Speaker, I have a lot of points to make, but I think these few ones will really bring out what I'm trying to talk about. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Neil and Tivandekoy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as a son of the soil, my heart is filled with so much pain and anger reading this report. If you care to know, I'm from Ada 4. I'm so passionate about this because not only have we lost family members, some of our people are mutilated, disabled, and now cannot do anything. And what is even depressing me more, for such things, such criminal acts to be described as minor criminal acts. When people have been killed, people have been maimed, police and soldiers rounding up people, beating them up at the instigation of a so-called investor, you can't describe it as minor criminal offenses. Minor, when people's lives have been lost. Mr. Speaker, the history of Songor cannot, right, as any of these incidents, mining or natural resource. Mr. Speaker, you know the history of Songor. From the time of the PMDC, NDC government under our illustrious former President Jerry John Wallace, the concessions that were in order to bring sanity cannot, right, as any of these incidents, mining or natural resource. Mr. Speaker, you know the history of Songor. From the time of the PMDC, the NDC government under our illustrious former President Jerry John Wallace, the concessions that were in order to bring sanity, peace, and tranquility to the area. We know the problem that came up with the issue of vacuum salt. From vacuum salt to Songor salt. The sort of injection that government made into it in order to restore the industry. And the concessions that were made so that the indigenous people can also have job to do. Today, somebody has just taken over everything, denying the indigenous people the little that they can also harvest, buy for their survival. And when they resist, soldiers and policemen are hired to chase them, beat them up, and even kill them. Our sacred groves are being desecrated, wantonly desecrated, without any recognition of the culture and traditions of the people. So these are not issues that should just be swept under the carpet and allowed to go. If in some areas, chiefs will shut up and allow Galamsey to spoil their rivers and do anything to them without any benefit to the people, we the people of Adna will not allow this to continue. Our people need to survive. And one investor cannot appropriate the whole concession to himself and allow the people to go hungry and die. We cannot in this house say we are more intelligent than the PMDC, the NDC, the Mills government, the Kufuor government, that look at this issue and settle it in a manner that look at this issue and settle it in a manner that have maintained peace until this time. We are not wiser than the Kufuor government or the Mills government. Why do the people agitate under President Kufuor or under Mills? Why didn't they do that? Were there any killings at that time? No, because there was a peaceful resolution to give the people opportunity to also mine parts of the concession so they can have livelihood. Today, what is happening? Even when you attempt going near that land, brutalities are vested on you. Why? And the people that are not human beings, we cannot, if everybody in this house will accept this report, Mr. Speaker, I want to register my opposition to this report. And I want it reflected in the hazard that one time was somebody, a member of this house, called Nila Tifanapoi, was against this report. I totally disagree with this report. Mr. Speaker, under the agreement, I'm happy the report itself is saying that the concession meant for the people should be looked at. The investor has totally appropriated the whole concession to himself. And that's the only cry of the people. That they can also mine and have a concession, that they can also get something for themselves and to pay their children's school fees and live as human beings. And this, they've been denied. Mr. Speaker, I also want to say here, no political pundit is agitating or inciting any group of people. The people of Adam know what is good for them. The people of Adam do not wait for any of us here, either the MP, the MP for Adam, or me, to incite them to resist an oppressor's rule. Resisting oppressor's rule is expressed in our national anthem. They know what is right for them. Adam people are also intellectuals. They know their left from their right. And none of us here has ever hated anybody. If there is any group of people who are inciting the people of Adam to resist this oppressor's rule, it is the Electrochem people. Because Adam people cannot continue to be treated as if they are living in another planet where soldiers and policemen are always around them, harassing them. They are human beings. Their liberties and freedoms must be respected. Mr. Speaker, I urge this House to shelve this report and let us as a House look at it very well, because, Mr. Speaker, consultations are done before policy decisions are taken. You don't take a policy decision when it has backfired and people have resisted, then you say you are going to do consultations and stakeholder meetings. Stakeholder meetings and consultations are done. If you've done what we call decision making, you know that you do stakeholder consultations, you go into black box and everything before you take a decision. If we are certain by this report that we have not done enough stakeholder consultations, let's share this report, see and make sure that the right thing has been done, so that the people there will be at peace with the investor. We don't say that the resource should not be mined, the resource should not be developed for the interest of the state, but we are saying that the resource. Yesterday, I heard our colleague, the honorable member of parliament for Meshia North, is it the Ranimate? Is it Meshia North or South? Meshia South, telling the people, the chiefs and people of Nungwa, that they should rise up and fight for what belongs to them. Our Ranimate. He told the people of Nungwa. So, if we don't do the appropriate stakeholder consultations for the people of Adam to appreciate what is being brought to them, so that they can cooperate with the investor, so that we can all live in peace. They are running it. I want to. So then, Mr. Speaker, there will be peace, because the people will continue to resist an oppressor's rule. Thank you very much.
Yes, Honorable Dr. Zanato.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Dr. Zanato Rollins.
Oh,
I want to hear from the lady. I'll come back to you. Are you too fired up that you can't hold on for some time?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute. Mr. Speaker, my name is captured in this report, and the concerns I raised, unfortunately, don't seem to have been factored in the conclusion, which was to state, if you open to page 4, 3H on page 4, it made reference to the fact that, and I quote, contributing to the statement, Honourable Dr. Zaneto Ajiman Rawlings, the Member of Parliament for Klote-Kwale constituency, stressed that there should be local content in the salt mining enterprise to solve unemployment challenges in the area. She was emphatic that the underlying criminality of whatever hue or color should be addressed by law enforcement agencies. Mr. Speaker, it appears as though there are lots of questions that have been raised, but the report itself is not speaking to those questions and responding to them. So we have a report that has a lot of questions that we are looking for responses to, and yet this report has not responded to those specific questions. And I believe that if we are truly supposed to have the minerals of this country vested on behalf of the people. Those who are indigenous to the areas where these particular minerals are discovered or being exploited must not lose out. We've seen this trend happen in too many communities. This is an opportunity for us to do the right thing for the indigenous people in the locality so that they don't lose out as a result of commercialization of the salt. And we also need to look at the issue of anti-competitive actions taken on behalf of various companies that make it impossible for local industries or even small-scale industries to thrive. Mr. Speaker, we are in a period where the economy is not doing the best. And to find us in a situation where the local people are being squeezed out of the opportunity of having livelihoods, I believe is unfair. And we are the representatives of the people, and we cannot remain silent as a report like this is laid before the House. And so I would like to add my voice to the other members of Parliament, Honorable Nilanti Van Koy and Honorable Otute, in saying that this report must be looked at again. There must be greater consultation. If a visit was planned to the area, that visit must be done as part of what the committee, the joint committee, must do before this report is laid before the House and the House is made to vote on this report. I thank you very much for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Dr. Doko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as a former member of the Committee on Mines and Energy, I want to put on record that the committee had earlier visited the site, but not the joint committee. I would just want the fact to be set up. The Committee on Mines and Energy made a field visit. Mr. Speaker, but more importantly, as a nation, the Songor salt project typifies the type of challenge we have as a nation. Mr. Speaker, we are a nation in transition. The state, in this case represented by Parliament and other bodies, have taken decisions that are on paper and by the Constitution and the law legal. But the decisions of the state do not always favor nation building. The nation is made up of the different ethnicities in the geographical space called Ghana, whereas the state is essentially represented by institutions. The people of Adan have historically lived around the coast and mined salt as a source of living. Our grandfathers walked all the way from Uchumnu land, walked all the way from the north to the coast for salt. However, with modernity, we now have an entity called Ghana. And in trying to bring all the various ethnicities and nationalities together, we have to be conscious of the interests of all segments of this geopolity we call Ghana. And so, whereas all the requirements of the law might have been met, Parliament should find a way of encouraging nation building by bringing on board the essential livelihood, the essential cultures and characteristics of the various nationalities we are putting together as one nation. That is at the crux of this problem. The people of Adan, the Dangwe people, have historically lived on salt. So the state is now coming out with a new construct. We must make room. We should find a way of making room for the people of Adan within the construct. It is important, and it is a truism, that commercial mining with technology would definitely enhance the quality of the salt, would definitely enhance the quantity, and will yield greater dividends. However, in this context, the context of wind versus polygamy, in the context of modernity versus tradition, we cannot jump all the hurdles at a go. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, on the report,
the committee recognized that the desecration of sacred sites, the desecration of sacred sites, the disrespect for cultural sensitivities have not been properly done, and therefore the committee is even recommending that this should be a thing of the past. Electrochem must respect our cultural sensitivities, must not, Electrochem, must not destroy our cultural sites as they have been doing. And we met representatives of all sides, and this was a very strong point. But Mr. Speaker, it is that this House, in my opinion, encourages the continuous engagement. We should use the regulator. Indeed, the Minerals Commission, we can direct the Minerals Commission to ensure an outgrower type of arrangement where the indigenous people can have a session of their concession for them to produce, with the help of Electrochem, produce using modern methodologies and then sell to Electrochem, so that we can create a win-win situation. Mr. Speaker, if you look at 8.05, the committee emphasized the need for this continuity in engagement. It should also go on record that Parliament encouraged or directed the Minerals Commission to create space for the indigenous people within the concession. The committee had to look at 3 agreements or 3 leases which have already been ratified by this House, and therefore it was quite difficult for the committee in looking at those leases to either say the leases are valid or not valid. So that was a challenge. But this House has the power to direct the Minerals Commission, Mr. Speaker, to create space within the concessions, if we take the concessions as having been made for the people of Ada. The people of Ada deserve that. The people of Ada deserve to see their lives improve. Mr. Speaker, we must endeavor to create a win-win situation. I thank you for the opportunity to contribute. Yes, let me listen to, is that Dr. Amwa? Yes, Honorable, you change your sitting place, but you are permitted, you can deliver from there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I thank you for this prestigious opportunity. Mr. Speaker, before I make my comment, I would like to ask for your permission to read Article 257, Section 6 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. With your permission, I read it. Every mineral in its natural state, in, under, or upon any land in Ghana, rivers, streams, water, throughout Ghana, the exclusive economic zone, and any area covered by the territorial sea or continental shelf is the property of the Republic of Ghana and shall be vested in the President on behalf of and in trust for the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, as much as I agree with some of my colleagues from the other side, from the political divide, that of course, in terms of having empathy for the indigenous brothers we all cherish and love most from the Ada area, we need to, as a house, help develop paradigm shifts that will ensure their inclusion in building the economic capacity of the community and the country. if we don't take care, what will happen is that Western region, they will begin to say that the oil that belongs to them, and for that matter, any decision, whether of national, international, or community interest, will not be taken care of. Mr. Speaker, if we are not careful, those from Ashanti region and Guam will follow suit. If we don't take care, those from Upper East will follow suit. And what will we be doing to the laws of this land in championing the cause that will bring us together and build the needed cohesion and out of collectivism build our own country for the very good purpose of our brothers, including those from Adam. So as much as we are all trying to find a common point of convergence in dealing with this issue, I would like to suggest that probably what we can do is that any company, being large or small, that is giving the legal mandate to manage some of these state natural resources should find a way to include the community people along the value chain in terms of job creation so that they can also derive economic gains. I think such proposals or propositions should be given the needed attention and consideration rather than sometimes trying to grab some sort of tribal specific sentiments which do not form the needed functional framework in building our republic. So, Mr. Speaker, all that I'm saying is that we feel for the people, we empathize with them, we show some sort of agreement to what our brothers are trying to say, but in trying to also do that, we should also respect the laws of the land. We should also understand the fact that natural resources, whether in the sea or on land, belong to the state, belong to all of us, and the Constitution stipulates that they are vested in the president. And we should look at other regions. Some of these natural resources are going through the same exercises. And because of the law benefit, because of redistribution and social intervention policies, and brought on by the same government. And I think we don't have to do politics with this. I think we don't have to bring in anything that will let our exercise be in purification. It will not help us. I don't think that is appropriate. So, Mr. Speaker, the point I'm making is that we need to, as a house, try to come together. We need, as a house, to come.
Yes, what word is that?
Mr. Speaker, the word you use, none of us understood the word.
What is the word?
So we don't understand.
Yes, what word is that?
Mr. Speaker, the word you use, none of us understood the word.
What is the word?
So we don't understand.
Honourable Member, can you repeat the word?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I repeat the word, I want to explain to him to understand, if you allow me, sir. The meaning of the word is exercise being conducted without any fruit, wordless exercise. Anything that will not yield the needed results. And the word is purification.
I believe I am rather tempted to believe that this is a coinage from you. It's a construct of your language, not English language.
Mr. Speaker, respectfully, anybody can check from the English. In fact, Oxford Dictionary, the spelling is FLOCCI plus no NAUCCINIHILIPIFCHON. It is an English vocabulary and it's can be found in the Oxford Dictionary. But Mr. Speaker, Having explained that to them, I think the importance
It's not in any Oxford dictionary. Please, you may have to draw my attention to it. The way you spell that word is not in any Oxford dictionary.
Yes, we can respect it. It can be Googled here. Anybody can do it.
Yes, we all have Google here. We can spell it.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, they want to write. So I'll do that for them. Okay, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I would like them to write and check. The word is floccinauxilification. And the spelling is Floccinauxilification. Floccinauxilification. It simply means wordless exercise. Exercise that is not yielding any results. And I think such exercises are dysfunctional to the performance of our republic. And I'm admonishing my brothers in times such as this. Let us all build the needed cohesion that will be functional to building our own country, and not just incite other people against the focus that we need as a country to building the same economy that they will benefit from as a result of redistribution policy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Dachimoko.
Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to comment on the motion that the report prepared by the Mines and Energy Committee be adopted. Mr. Speaker, may I refer the House to page 3 of the report, particularly paragraph 3, sub 5. Speaker, with your leave, let me read. The Joint Committee considers it significant to capture the pitch of the statement delivered at the floor of the House on the 9th day of October 2023 by the Honourable Member of Parliament for Sege, Mr. Christian Kolete Otuchai, which prompted the referral and remit as well as their contributions. Mr. Speaker, A. The Songor Labu enclave is an ancient source of livelihood for his constituents. B. On the 6th day of November 2023, when his constituents were doing their salt mining business at Tofloko, there was a confrontation between his constituents of the one part and the police. A team of young men from Electrochem Ghana Limited of the other part. An indigene by name, Lumo Kolete Agomeda, died as a result of firing of gunshots. C. The Honourable Member demands a police investigation of the incident above. D. The Honourable Member also prayed for the Committee on the Defence and Interior to delve into these matters. E. The Honourable Member of Parliament for Ana, Ms. Comfort Doyle Kujo, contributing to the statement submitted that the Ashantis have their gold, and not all the gold concessions have been given to Anglo Gold Ashanti, and the people are given space for Galamsey. Electrochem Ghana Limited should yield space to the indigenes to do same related to their white gold. F. The Managing Director of Electrochem Ghana Limited, Dr. Daniel Kolete, had assured her that the company will yield space for the indigenes to work. Already, the MP informed Parliament that 3 communities, namely Nakonkope, Agbepo, and Abumakope,
have benefited from the largesse of the company. G. The Honorable MP wanted Electrochem Ghana Limited to enlarge the scope of their social corporate responsibilities. H. Contributing to the statement, the Honorable Dr. Zaneto Ajimaronis, the Member of Parliament for Krote-Kole constituency, stressed that there should be local content in the salt mining enterprise to solve unemployment challenges in the Adan area. She was emphatic that the underlying criminality of whatever hue or color should be addressed by the law enforcement agencies. Mr. Speaker, these were the basis upon which the committee proceeded to look into the matter. Speaker, therefore, I was looking forward to seeing the report, amongst others, the acreage of the concession of Electrochem vis-a-vis the acreage of the areas occupied by the indigenes, and whether the size of the concession which is generating the problem is co-terminus to the residents, the area occupants. That is not reflected in the report. Because the key concern of the people, I gather from the statement made last year, which gave birth to this committee inquiry, is that the people also want the opportunity to engage in their age-old salt mining activities, as well as allowing Electrochem to also continue to do its legitimate business. If that is not happening, then of course the point made by the Honorable Comfordoyo Ganza, as captured in the report, will be a matter for us to look at. That where a people by their circumstance and environmental situation are accustomed to a certain activity, and the state exercising its rights under the constitution, then take away the opportunity of the people to engage in that environmental activity. Mr. Speaker, it will lead to communal clash. It will lead to communal clash. And that is what is happening. So I think that the committee ought to have made that finding of fact for the House to be able to take a certain decision to determine whether or not the concession granted to Electrochem is such that it takes away the area where the indigenous people have been working for all these years, or not. If it does, then maybe the size of the concession may have to be looked at, and portion taken away and allowed for the people to be able to mine their salt. Because you see, in all that we do, as part of the recommendations, Mr. Speaker, we are talking about employment, corporate social responsibility, NCC coming to do community engagement. It's all about peaceful coexistence. It is in the report that Electrochem allegedly has invested $88 million, even though no evidence has been cited. But if you invest $88 million, then you are in conflict with the community people. How do you recoup your investment? It's very, very important. We are talking about local content. If the company and this staff are in conflict with the people, how do you recruit the people from the locality to be able to work for you? So I think that the committee ought to have taken a look at these very critical matters, giving birth to the inquiry in question. Mr. Speaker, clearly the MPs from the area are not happy about what is happening. And from the content of the report, and the report as it is addressing the matter on the ground, Mr. Speaker. So you have done it before. The committee may have to go back and look at these other matters prevailing on the ground to determine whether the people do not have a place to do their salt mining as it is, vis-a-vis whether Electrochem has actually taken over the entire area. Then the House can be properly guided to give some directives on the matter. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to comment on the report before the House. Mr. Speaker, on page 12 of the report, paragraph numbered X, we are told that the nation Ghana has a stake in the Electrochem Ghana Limited and its salt mining business in Ghana, Ihinada Songor. But there can be no gainsaying that the people of Ada and the people of the Songor area do equally have a stake in the country Ghana, and Ghana must be seen to also be caring for the people of Ada. So this will be looked at in both ways. The next paragraph calls on the police to continue their investigations. But Mr. Speaker, it is really worrying that for a matter of such magnitude, we have had a long investigations. And the delay is further causing anxiety and creating problems in the area. I want to use this opportunity to call on state actors who are seized with the responsibility of investigating matters like this, that the more we delay when such matters occur, the worse it is for us as a people. We can cite many examples where we have come to this law and lamented the actions of people, whether state security agencies or individuals, and yet we keep hearing investigations are ongoing. I recall the case of the Homowa shooting incident last year, the case of the Pulido shooting, and this Electrochem Songor issue that occurred. We have seen many calls for speedy investigations and actions to no avail. Mr. Speaker, I think that as we discuss this matter, another issue that is worrying for me is the fact that sometimes in our bid to solve issues, we infringe on the rights of our own citizens. In this particular matter, we know the police and military stationed in the area have been there, and their presence is very intimidating. Their presence is very intimidating to the people, and to a very large extent, it doesn't promote free movement of our people in the area. And so once we see the danger or the fact that the unrest in the area must be kept, almost it's on all of us to ensure that the security will expeditiously take care of the investigations and bring perpetrators to book. Especially when we know that during the period, some of our kinsmen have lost their lives. And those who have died, Mr. Speaker, the least we can do is to assure their families of expeditious judicial service to them. We must be seen caring for our people, especially where someone has died, Mr. Speaker. If we do not at least give the assurance to the family, what we will be seeing is loss of trust in our security agencies. And for that matter, state institutions that are mandated to deal with matters such as this will lack the support of our people. And so, Mr. Speaker, we want to say that at least for the families that have lost their lives, while we pursue the case, there must be some form of consolation, some sort of condolences extended to them, and some support for them to even mourn their bereaved members. Without sounding repetitive, Mr. Speaker, earlier speakers have mentioned the fact that this protracted dispute in the area is affecting livelihoods. And indeed, I want to add my voice to the fact that the people of Ada have lived all these years relying on this mineral resources. Yes, all resources are vested in the state, and the state has interest. But the resources appear in jurisdictions, and our traditional areas where these resources come from their rights must not be trampled upon just because the state has oversight and power over those resources. Mr. Speaker, I recall in the early or mid-90s when I visited the Songor area. At the time I was pursuing my wife, and I had visited the area with her to the riverside to go and win salt. And it was a beautiful spectacle. Yes, I followed my wife to Songor, so I'm a witness to the fact that the Songor is a basic livelihood support for the people of Ada. But here we are, within the commercialization of that resource at the expense of sustaining our tradition and customs and the economic independence of the people. Today we have this conflict. May I use this medium to, Mr. Speaker, call on all state actors in this matter that we cannot extinct or deprive the people of their livelihood. If indeed the matter at stake has to do about the extent and the expanse of acquisition by the investor, and we are told that about 41,000 acres of land has been vested into an individual. Mr. Speaker, it is only fair that both interests, the commercialization and the indigenous people's interest, must be married, so that at the end, whilst we pursue improved economic activities, we also thrive on sustaining the traditions and customs of our people, especially where it relates to their economic livelihood. With this view, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
May I, honorable members, take a few minutes, 5 minutes, to suspend sitting, then I'll be back for us to conclude, if possible, on this matter, and then take a break. Please, just five minutes. Continue with the deliberations on the report of the committee. Yes. Yes, we are concluding.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I rise to make a few observations in respect of the report presented by the chairman, or the former chairman, of Mines and Energy. Mr. Chairman, I have just a few observations to make. I have always said that the Constitution is very clear that governmental powers must be exercised in the name of and for the welfare of the people. The fact that the state has the exclusive right to minerals in terms of Article 268 of the Constitution does not necessarily mean that when it is exercising that power of eminent domain over minerals, it should trample upon the rights of the communities in which the natural resource or natural resources are found. For us to comply with,
yes, what is it? He says what? In what?
He said 268.
yes, Speaker, it's a slip. So I meant to say very well, but I don't have the Constitution here, but I do know the chapter on natural resources very well. So, Mr. Speaker, the point I am making is that when the state is exercising this power vested in it under the Constitution. The state must at the same time respect the rights of the people. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure you recall that recently, in the case of the Ogoni people, a court in the Netherlands asked that the Ogoni community be compensated for the human rights abuses that occurred as a result of the exploitation of oil resources by Shell PLC. Mr. Speaker, what I want to underscore is that though the report of the committee has not detailed the human rights abuses that have occurred in relation to the Songor Lagoon salt exploitation by Electrochem, Mr. Speaker, various honorable members. I remember the honorable member for Ododio, the honorable Neil and Van der Poel. I also remember the honorable Otute mentioned the fact that in the course of seeking to exploit the salt resources, Electrochem or agents of Electrochem were involved either directly or indirectly in human rights abuses. This is the House of Parliament. We are enjoined by the Constitution in Chapter 5 to uphold the fundamental human rights enshrined in the Constitution. I do not think that Parliament should approve any transaction in respect of which there is evidence of human rights abuses having occurred or having been occasioned by either the state or any entity affiliated to the state or an entity that is wholly private but that is being aided by the state in order to commit human rights abuses. Mr. Speaker, I think that we should call for an investigation of the human rights abuses that have occurred, and then if we find that there were actual excesses committed by the state agents for and on behalf of Electrochem, they should be held accountable. They should pay compensation to the local communities they should be allowed to continue the exploitation of the natural resource which is found within the community that is the subject matter of our report. So, Mr. Speaker, I don't think that as a House we should be entertaining this report and approving it for Electrochem to continue unless we can say that they will, be held accountable or they will compensate the people of Songor for the human rights abuses that have occurred. Mr. Speaker, this is my humble submission. I can see that Swami Mercy wants to respond. Hey.
Yes, please. Former Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the report before us. Mr. Speaker, I've listened to colleagues who have spoken to the issue at stake, some of them very, very passionately, and some really saturating their contributions with high-functioning emotions. Mr. Speaker, we are in this chamber at the instance of the 1992 Republican Constitution. And within the ambit of the Constitution, the rule of law is the oil that lubricates our governance. Mr. Speaker, we should not banish this. It's a core and indeed cardinal principle. We are here at the instance of the 1992 Republican Constitution. Mr. Speaker, what we are dealing with is a resource in a country called Ghana. And the country called Ghana, Mr. Speaker, has its various components. The land area, and then we have the territorial sea, and then we have the airspace. Within all these three components, within the airspace, within the land area, and within the territorial sea, we will have mineral resources. Let's not forget that under Article 4 of the Constitution, Ghana is a unitary state. Ghana is a unitary state. Mr. Speaker, Article 2576, quoted by the honorable member who just spoke before me, the Honorable Dr. Dominic Ayine, the former Deputy Attorney General and a law lecturer at University of Ghana, is quoted Article 2576 that all minerals in their natural state belong to the state wherever they are found, and they are vested in the President for and on behalf of the Republic. So it's for everybody, everywhere in this country. Mr. Speaker, I remember when we came to fashioning the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, this matter came up strongly. Today, as we speak, we are being told that initial feasibility studies coming out suggest that the gold that has been discovered up north is perhaps huger than what obtains in Ashanti and Western region. Let's not do anything to suggest that if the country moves there, if feasibility studies is concluded and some concessions are granted to some people to go and mine the gold, the people up north will rise up to say that, well, this is our property. We should be careful. The Speaker, we should be careful. The Speaker, having said that, the Constitution provides in Article 20 that even where the state compulsorily acquires the land and then leases it out for investment for the greater good of the country, then prompt compensation must be paid. What I've not heard from the report is whether or not compensation has been paid. And if compensation has been paid, whether it is adequate. Mr. Speaker, I thought the committee was going to furnish us with these facts. Unfortunately, we don't have it. Is it the case that perhaps the inadequacy of the compensation, if anything has been paid, is one of the triggers for the communal violence that we are experiencing? I don't know. I don't want to have that a guess. But Mr. Speaker, I believe that we should interrogate that. Again, we should also look at the social responsibility of the company, the social responsibility of the company, whether what they have done is adequate. Let's not forget, Mr. Speaker, that I'm told that the total area involved is 41,000. Is it acres or hectares? Hectares. 41,000 acres, not hectares. 41,000 acres. Now, they've also given out about 1,000 acres to the indigenous people. Is that adequate? Is the 1,000 acres adequate? Or is it not adequate? We should look at the population in the area. So if you give 1,000 acres to maybe a population of about 5,000, would it be adequate? These are matters that we should interrogate. The Speaker, as to the issue raised by Dr. Ayini, who said to us that if there are issues of what is it, corruption or whatever, human rights abuse, then the people should be stopped. I don't know where it's coming from. The Speaker, in the late 80s and early 90s, within the corridors of the World Bank, such issues came up, and it was suggested that corrupt or undemocratic regimes should not be lent World Bank funding. It couldn't hold. It couldn't hold. What is the criteria of assessment? But, the Speaker, if there is any activity that's going on there that is untoward, yes, as a House, we should not condone. If it has to be investigated, we should join hands to ensure that justice is done. At the end of the day, some people are minor who are going to be deprived of eternal use of the land. If compensation is paid, how is it going to sustain the livelihood of the people? Mr. Speaker, these are matters that we should be interrogating, and I'm not too sure that we should be overly sentimental about this. We shouldn't. Then I have spoken to the corporate social responsibility. I would want to suggest that 1,000 acres out of 41,000 acres would not be adequate for the people. So how do you come to a determination on appropriate parceling out of some of the acreages that's going to the company to be given to the people? I mean, we must come together to dialogue on this. We must come together to dialogue on this. But Mr. Speaker, in a lighter vein, we are talking about salt that is being processed from the sea. Is the salt that is processed from the sea a natural resource? Technically, is it a natural resource? Salt that is mined on the land is a natural resource. But if you trap the sea and process it to get salt, is it a natural resource? Mr. Speaker, the sea, the territorial sea belongs to Ghana. It belongs to Ghana. And the water contained is a natural resource for Ghana. But I'm talking about the salt itself. I'm talking about, we have processed it. So it's not a natural resource. But, Mr. Speaker, this is something that we can think through. But I'm saying that where we are, in order to facilitate the business of the company, I think that we can allow them to do that, subject to these observations. One, the payment of adequate compensation. Two, the fact that they should increase the acreage of land that is given to them. And then the third one is the corporate social responsibility, that we should ensure they have adequate and a reasonable share of social responsibility for the people. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, thank the various contributors to this very important statement. Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, thank the various contributors to this very important statement. And to say that I've listened variously to members quote Article 257(6), where every mineral in this natural state is vested in the president, rightly so. But what we've not asked is why are we investing the president with this power? What is he supposed to do with these resources? And I take you to the people, to the greater good of the people. Article 34, the directive principle of state policy. Well, that is the reason why the president is giving the state, is giving this power. Among other things, the state is supposed to undertake even development, and in particular improve the conditions of life in people in rural areas like the people in Ada, and generally redressing any imbalance in the development between the rural and the urban areas. And a lot of them, these are the reasons, a lot of reasons why the president is supposed to ensure is vested with this power. And I start off, it's as if we are all talking about peace without talking about justice. So, Speaker, have we asked this question? That payment of royalties to communities in many areas, for example, on the authority of the president, are in arrears. Are we aware? There's a reason why people in these communities, and we must start with the failure of understanding. Not too long ago, Madam Speaker, we were in this house. We were discussing passionately about oil discovery and how we will ensure that Ghana will benefit. And all of a sudden, the people of the Western region, especially led by Chief, says, no, we don't trust Ghana government. When they take the resources, they will not bring even a piece of it for our development. Give us 3%. You made the same argument here. If we give it to you, then what do we say to Ashanti? What do we say to the northern region? That's what is being repeated. Not too long ago, Côte d'Ivoire almost took Ghana to were in arbitration with Côte d'Ivoire. Has anybody asked how we won? We won because the communities closest to where oil is being produced testified on behalf of Ghana in court to say that we've lived here for over 100 years and our land, our border belongs to Ghana. And so the territory belongs to Ghana. What is that? Please, I was part of the arbitration. Don't try. The point I'm making is that these are very blatant matters. And so
I'll come before you.
the question that we must ask is that communities, for example, that are in a place where resources are found, have a right to benefit. And Mr. Speaker, I was struck by the report, page 11, VI, and I quote, "It is imperative that the National Commission of Civil Education should embark upon a massive educational campaign in the salt mining area to bring indigenous to the realization that salt is a natural mineral and not a local means of livelihood." I completely disagree with this statement. It is true. It is true that these minerals must be for the benefit of the entire country. But when we have lived in a place and all we have done in our life, when we get our livelihood, is this salt to tell us all of a sudden that there is the emergence of Electrochem. So all of a sudden, this is not where we should survive. We have the right to feed our children. We have the right to live. So we have to find a balance. And that should be the discussion. That should be the discussion. When you discover oil, and people who are fishing, all of a sudden are told that you can't go to this territory, and they're saying this is where the fish is. And Ghana Navy says you can't venture. And they come here and say because of the oil production now, you can't even fish. What do you then do to make sure that these people survive? you dialogue, you find a way to give them a new way of living. In this particular case with Ada, what you do, use government leading the way to make sure we've given you 41,000 acres of land. And so in this report we are told, oh, we've given them 1,000 acres, and even the women have given them 3 million Ghana cedis. They should be fine, they should be happy. It is not enough. And so I think the call to make sure that we go back to the drawing board, working with the company, engaging the community to find a win-win solution is the way forward. Making sure we increase the acreage so that the people in that area can live in dignity and work, while the company also really engages in its own business. There has to be a win-win. And so this discussion must not be emotional at all. But we have to find a balance between industry, doing big business, and ensuring that local communities who have nowhere else to go can also survive. So, Mr. Speaker, I end by urging us to focus on the key recommendation, which is fundamental. That it is not enough that they have 1,000 acres of land. There had to be a negotiation, and key stakeholders in this industry must be part of this discussion to increase the acreage for the people of Gadagbe and Ada, and to make sure that the company itself understands that they get their social licenses, not from Accra, not from the government of Ghana. Yes, you have your legal license here in Parliament, but the real social license is with the people you live with, and to engage them and make them happy. That is the way to go. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, let me add my voice to this report by drawing attention to recommendation Roman 8, which reads, any survey challenge relating to the extent of the concession should be brought to the attention of the Minerals Commission for investigation. Mr. Speaker, it's a very bold recommendation by the committee. And I believe that once that is done, the provisions under Article 22 could be triggered in to enable those who be affected be paid compulsory acquisition or anything that they are due promptly, fairly, and adequately. And I believe that will be enough to bring peace within the area. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I strongly believe that this report in its current form should not be allowed to pass. Mr. Speaker, I say this because the sentiment as expressed by both sides, and particularly from the MPs around the area that this matter has become a major issue of concern, have expressed deep-seated issues that, Mr. Speaker, this House must certainly address. Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Member for Sege, in his submission, raised the confrontation issue that has happened over the years, and the fact that this is actually bringing about some disturbances in the area, and the fact that it has even resulted in the loss of lives among some of his constituents. The Honourable Member for Ada, the Honourable Comfordoyo, also explained that the constituents are of the view that some land must be given to them for them to be able to engage in a small-scale salt mining. Mr. Speaker, I strongly support that argument in the sense that even in agriculture, when you are to engage in large-scale farming and bring in investors for large-scale farming, room is created for outgrower schemes so that livelihood for local people are preserved. Mr. Speaker, even in mining, gold mining, we reserve some land for small-scale mining so that you can protect the indigents and their livelihood. Mr. Speaker, clearly, we need to preserve the livelihood of the people of Songor and Adam and its surrounding areas. Mr. Speaker, I want to submit that if you are to the recommendations as captured in page 11 of 13, recommendation 1, that says that there is no legal or factual basis to review and or tinker with the 3 mining leases ratified by this August House on the 6th of November 2024. The Speaker is factually incorrect. It's incorrect because the Speaker, my attention has been drawn to a Supreme Court ruling in Deputy the AG, where the Supreme Court ruled that the executive reserves the right to make changes to a natural resource agreement that has been ratified by Parliament, and that Parliament, by resolution, can share that power with the executive. Mr. Speaker, if at any point in time this August House believes that this agreement is going to bring about some disturbances and political instability within the country, Mr. Speaker, nothing stops us to do what is right. We are talking of 41,000 acres of land. And we are talking about the fact that only 1,000 acres has been reserved for the locals. And that the locals are agitating, Mr. Speaker, as a representative of the people. Nothing stops us to rethink and review that. And where possible, have, let's say, 10,000 or more or less. Something reasonable that will calm the people. Mr. Speaker, we are not saying the entire concession should be taken away from the company. But right, Honorable Speaker, this is 41,000 acres. 41,000 acres of land. Can't we carve out 10,000 acres, for example, through proper engagement with the locals? Mr. Speaker, the number I am talking about is just hypothetical. We can sit with them. But this recommendation coming from the committee, Mr. Speaker, I beg to disagree. I beg to disagree in the sense that I think as a House we can do better than what we have proposed. Right, Honorable Speaker, I submit that this agreement in its current form should not pass. We should. This report in its current form should not be adopted. So, Speaker, I suggest that we ask the committee to go back, find a way, and make recommendations that will appease the people of Songor and Ada area. So, Speaker, so that peace will prevail, for the company to be able to do their business in the local, and find a way and make recommendations that will appease the people of Songor and Ada area. So, Speaker, so that peace will prevail, for the company to be able to do their business and the locals will also coexist with the company. Right, Honorable Speaker, in its current form, even the company will not be able to raise financing because they will not get peace to do the mining. They will not get peace to do the mining. And that is why it is better for us to find a proper and amicable way in resolving this matter. Mr. Speaker, I suggest that the committee should go back and do further work. I so submit. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to add my voice to the discussion on the floor. So, Speaker, let me start with this short narrative. Some years back, in the private sector, a company refused to pay withholding tax, and I was having problems with reconciling my account.
So I sued the company for them to pay me invoices with VAT. And then they said they were exempt. They didn't have any parliamentary approval. After a long litigation, the court came out with just a one-line sentence verdict to the effect that rate struck out for want of capacity. In other words, if it's about taxation, it's only GRA that had the capacity to sue, and that, however my lamentation, the court could not come to my rescue. Mr. Speaker, let me limit myself to the jurisprudence of procedure as a rule. We as a parliament have our mandate clearly spelled out. If you look at the intro of this report, intro paragraph 1 to 1.3, I won't belabor. It spells out clearly how this whole referral originated. All the issues that we are raising cannot find space within our mandate as a parliament to even enforce the indemnity ruling. The shared powers we have with the executive cannot be triggered through this vehicle. So, Mr. Speaker, I've heard the lamentations, but as a matter of procedure, we cannot do much. The honourable member only raised a concern regarding this area. If you look at it, on the 6th of November 2020, we did a ratification. In ratifying, we looked at the contracts. Now all the costs for us to even look at the 41,000 plus acres or acres, and perhaps look at some 10,000 for the local people. Mr. Speaker, we cannot use this as a means to do it. So I agree to the call by the minority leader that this report in its current state and form cannot be adopted. I agree. However, Hansa is a witness to the concerns of members of Parliament. The executive, Mr. Speaker, the concerns be ferried to the executive that pursuant to a call by member for Songor, these are the issues that have come out. The executive, led by the minister responsible for the sector, should take the matter up and engage the company and the local people and re-look at the issues. Mr. Speaker, the person who is the beneficiary of this leave is a native. Mr. Macaulay is one of them. He's a local. He's not an Ashanti man. He's not an Efutu man. Mr. Macaulay, as he's popularly called, is a local. He holds a chieftaincy title. He is a Laman, he is an Adaman, he says he belongs to God. You happy with me? The man is not from the Ashanti region. He's not a Kuru man. Who is taking? No, I'm just making a point. Oh, you don't want to hear? Mr. Speaker, the man is not from Peru. The man is not from Peru. He's not from Efutu. He is from your area, Honorable MP for Songor. So I think that is an opportunity for us to sit down with him, because, Mr. Speaker, if Dr. Macaulay is not listening to the cry of his own people, then it's very rich. Ghana Adangbe enclave is made up of Adans and Gans. He is a Ghana Adangbe. So we expect that he will understand the cry of the people. We expect that he, being part of them, would respect the customs and traditions. I listened to the argument of Honorable Nilan Evandapo when he talked about the sacred group and the destruction and all. Mr. Speaker, recently a similar issue came up in the future where people were concerned that where we do deer hunting, this lithium is going to cover that area, and they were all up in arms. There's no way. We prefer to remain poor than to destroy the sacred forest. It's about custom, it's spiritual, it's connected to our soul. Nobody will take that and say that in view of that, bring into investment and disrespect that. Nobody will. But Mr. Speaker, having the horses bolted already, if they have bolted, we can get the horses back into the stable. We must get them back. But we should choose the right vehicle to do so. Mr. Speaker, having said all of these, I would want to conclude by reiterating my earlier position that I agree with the Honorable Minority Leader on this occasion and on this occasion only. Not for the time being. Very well. That will be another matter. Mr. Speaker, because I've heard some good news from him. Mr. Speaker, so I support the call for us to place this matter on ice. But we should initiate a proper procedure to get the things properly done within the remit of the law. Mr. Speaker, I humbly so submit. Thank you so much, sir. Honorable members, in view of the contributions of members, I will defer putting the question. I will do so on Monday after the final statements have been made. But please, don't forget that we are the representatives of the people. And one of our functions as leaders, particularly the leaders that the people are looking up to, is to facilitate the settlement of disputes. Clearly, there is a dispute. Other state institutions, personalities have been involved, and this has been going on for a long time. They seem not to be finding any solution. I wasn't presiding when this matter came before the House, and the House, in its own wisdom, decided to set up a committee, and so the focus was for the committee to go and lead to facilitate the settlement of the dispute. That is key, very important. The dispute should not be carried to the floor, so that at the end of the day, members themselves will be seen to be part of the problem than the solution. And so, please, Monday, we'll wind up, and then we'll give a few directives. Some of you have argued, and I've listened to you, that you've been injustice being perpetuated for a long time when you come to deal with minerals.
And so some of you are citing gold, oil, and all those things. There are instances of some injustice. That is the concern of all of us, and we want to find solution. So why not from Parliament? We should lead to do so. With this, I defer putting the question till Monday. Yes, please.
Speaker, shall we proceed to page 27 of today's order paper? Page 27, and take item 53.
Honorable members, after this item, I will have to suspend sitting for some time after this item. Depending on what you decide. So item 53 at page 27 of the order paper. Motion, Chairman of the committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that this Honourable House adopts the report of the Finance Committee on the request for